We're back on Morning Line. It's our final segment with Tim Takis, our elder care attorney. We're taking your calls, 737-7587. And Lee has waited through the break, and we'll go to Lee. Lee, good morning.
Morning.
Hi,
Good morning.
Lee.
I'd like some information about this sort of springing power of attorney in Tennessee that only becomes effective when incapacity strikes.
Yes.
How reliable are they generally? And for example, what would the agent have to present to a bank? And also, what about a provision that gives the attorney, in fact, access to some of the assets for personal use to some extent? Are there any problems with that?
Yeah.
Or what would be the best way to handle the principal's wish to make some provision for the attorney, in fact?
Okay, so
Yeah,
those
that's
are all
great.
good questions.
I've been dealing with that. That's great
So
questions.
you have the springing power of attorney.
Now, what's springing? What do you mean springing?
Okay, springing means that, we all know what a power of attorney is that where you have a paper writing that authorizes somebody to make decisions for you.
Your behalf. Okay, financial?
Financial, legal, medical, and whatnot.
Okay.
So a springing power says that you don't have any authority to act for me until I become disabled or incapacitated.
Okay, which would be the opposite of my situation with my folks.
Yeah, yours
They
is-
aren't incapacitated, but they're in a position where they'd rather just have me deal with some of their financial
Right.
issues.
So in other words, so Lee's going, okay, let's say it's him. He's going, okay, I'm power of attorney for my mom. It says it's springing. So how does this come into being? How do I trigger? Where does my authority come from?
Okay.
So what he does is that he goes to mom's doctor and he says, look, I've got this document, power of attorney, that says it's springing, where it says, this power only comes into effect if such and such and such. Would you write a letter that says that this has happened?
Meaning this could be a doctor saying mentally she's lost some of this. Obviously, it'd be obvious if she had, God forbid, a stroke and was in a coma. That would kick in.
But even
probably.
even then, the document might say that it has to have a note from a doctor.
Okay.
So you get the note from the doctor, which tracks what the power of attorney says, and you literally staple it on the back or staple it behind the power of attorney, and now your springing power comes into effect.
Okay. And so, for instance, then, is that something you would show? He was asking about going to a bank.
Yes.
Or financials.
The bank says,
so
right.
the bank would want to see that letter as well attached.
It says, yeah.
Would it have to be? And it would have to be notarized, I would bet.
It could, but not likely. It says it's springing. The bank goes, well, it says springing.
Yeah.
Okay, so where's the doctor's letter? Well, there it is.
Okay.
Here it is. So okay, now. So Lee goes, well, what about a provision for getting something for the attorney, in fact, to act on the individual's behalf? Okay, remember, it's not involuntary servitude.
Right.
Being a power of attorney for somebody else. And so usually the ones that we draft for our clients say that the power of attorney can be compensated for the work they're doing.
Oh, really?
That's okay.
Oh, I guess that's okay, but I mean, like,
Yeah, because see, I'm sitting here thinking about your brother. Okay, so how much are your parents going to pay him?
well, nothing.
Well, maybe they should.
Why?
Well,
We're paying me. They're not paying
well,
me
they should
anything.
pay you because you're clearly worth it.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Even though you're here and your brother's there.
But if it's family members, well, certainly not. For instance, like now,
Some people have to take a lot of time.
I mean,
out
for
from
just
their work.
doing the things. Because my point is, like, for instance, if I'm paying, like, I had to pay $2,000 to have someone clean out their house. Well, I'm going to be reimbursed that $2,000
Sure you will.
when they sell
By
the
your
house.
mom and dad, yeah.
But I'm not being paid to handle their affairs. But that's just me. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not after any money.
But
here.
that's a question. But that's a conversation that you and your brother will want to have because maybe your brother is in a situation where, Nick, he's like a major television star in Nashville, and here I am bumping along in Boise, and
He's a major television star there. He's on TV there.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's an anchor there. But go ahead.
Well, that's way cool.
Yeah, it's all in the family.
All right. Of course it is. Why wouldn't I know that?
Yeah. Okay. Let's take some more calls because we got a
Okay, I
bunch, and
know.
we can talk more on that. But let's go to Chris. Chris, good morning.
But pay yourself. I mean, if it's appropriate.
Okay. Go ahead,
it's
Chris.
It's not involuntary servitude. Yes, Chris, go ahead.
Are you there, Chris? Well, no wonder it was so quiet. Oh, there you are. Hey, Chris, what's on your mind, buddy?
Not power of attorney, but trusts. I've got a trust that, and like most people in my predicament, we're forced retired, and we're broke. Things have come upon us quickly, such as stage 4 cancer, that allows us not to, make it to 65. And I've got to try and set up a trust with zero money, looking for pro bono work. And, it's extremely difficult here in Nashville.
So what now? If you're broke, but what's the trust going to be for?
Right. That's kind of where I'm headed. Yeah.
What do you need a trust for if you don't have any assets?
My mother has a considerable trust set up. She's still living. My little brother is the executor of the estate.
Okay.
Assets. And he was informing me that the best way to do this on my passing, if my mother outlives me, to set up a trust so that he can transfer funds directly into the trust for my 3 children.
Okay, so maybe mom pays for it.
Okay, all right, go ahead. So yeah, I understand.
So maybe he owns a house and that's about it.
Okay.
So he has no liquid money and going like, hey, I want to make sure that my kids or whoever is provided for, and unfortunately we can't make money for him, and lawyers don't work for free.
Right.
Particularly for people who have houses, it's like,
yeah.
But if he has access to funds like from his parents, I'm sorry to put it this way, but let him borrow the money from his parents instead of borrowing someone else's time and expertise.
Yeah.
Or getting that for free.
So if his mom has some large trust or something like that he wants to have, if he were to pass, set for his kids and have it worked out,
right,
then that could either be drawn on borrowing some money against the house, or could it come out of the trust itself?
Could be, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking is that it's like if there's family money there, then maybe that's when the family gets together and say, well, we have to take care of our brother or my son or whatever it is, so make sure his kids are taken care of.
It's like anything else, Tim, and and you're absolutely right. You are professionals and you have a right to get paid. It does take money to do some of these things, and there are people and families out there that maybe have lesser amounts to spend and can't, and I don't know. Sometimes things don't get done, and yes, there is some pro bono work, but boy, the wait for some of that, and they're lawyers, and I know you give of your time. I mean, it's a long way. A lot of people need that help. And,
exactly.
And I really sympathize with that.
Right.
So, well, if there is some type of asset, it can probably be done one way or the other.
Exactly.
And it doesn't always mean it's going to cost a fortune, right?
No, but it's worth what it's it's worth what he pays for it.
Yeah.
I mean, and part of that then becomes is you get professional legal help.
Yeah, a lot of people watch the TV and they see stories and they see criminal cases, and that defendant paid a $50,000 retainer. I mean, that's it doesn't necessarily. I can tell you, I haven't paid $50,000 for an attorney on any of these civil matters. So let's go to James next. James, good morning.
Morning.
Hey, James, how can we help you?
I've got a short question.
Sure.
I was a member of the Army National Guard during the Vietnam War. Mm-hmm. Am I eligible for any veteran benefits like Ian was talking about a few minutes ago?
Yeah, unlikely.
I'll hang up and listen.
Good question. Yeah, he was mentioning that about my dad who served in Korea, and we have to look into that. But he was Army National Guard.
Yeah, Army National Guard is typically no, but that would be one of those things where, I mean, who knows what benefits there could be, and a lot of times it could be a call or to the VA or to the veteran service officer in Nashville or wherever county he lives in.
That's worth asking.
Yeah, it is worth asking.
I mean, typically no, but you never know for sure,
right,
especially with how many were in the Army National Guard and were very active in recent years. Maybe things have
what
changed.
they did, and maybe there's some circumstances where he could be eligible for something.
But if you're a veteran, like you were saying with my dad, if you're a veteran, look into that. All right.
And he doesn't have to be in Korea. I mean, he could have been stateside, but as long as he served during wartime, then...
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Let's go to Tracy. Hi, Tracy.
Hello.
Hey, Tracy, go ahead. What's on your mind?
Oh, Lord, so much. But I'll try to sum it up. My mother, she's getting, on in her age. She's 74. Her health isn't the best, but she refuses to go into, like we were discussing, assisted living homes or any of that. She's able to get around. Mm-hmm. But where the issue comes in, I've got 3 siblings who live down there where she's at, which is in Memphis. And I currently live here in Nashville now. Every time I go down there, my mother has no food in the house. Mm-hmm. I have to take care of her. And my younger sibling, her daughter, I guess she puts her check. They've got a joint account.
Okay, and real quick, get to your
Okay.
question because we only have about a minute and a half. I want Tim to be able to answer.
Yeah.
So do you have a specific
All
question?
right.
Yes.
What is my rights? My sister in Ohio and I both want to know what our rights are as far as how can we go in to help Mom. My sister doesn't pay her bills on time or nothing.
Okay.
So, and it could be, it could be Adult Protective Services because if they're going over there and there's no food,
Yeah.
Then that's kind of like an emergency.
So they could bring that to the attention, which
Attention
then
of
maybe
adult-
says, okay, we need other family members to get involved besides this sister who's not helping.
exactly. And then, or maybe at some point they go to court, get
Could they get power of attorney maybe? Try to do that?
They could try that, but that doesn't help get food on the table particularly.
Right, no, that's right.
Yeah, but it might wind up, they might wind up having to get a conservatorship. But it sounds like that's the last resort. But what she's saying is her mom's not being, they're not being fed.
Yeah, and that's sometimes a phone call to
Yeah.
Adult Protective Services. They look at it, they realize this person needs extra help,
exactly.
and that could help
and then
go
they
that way.
they want to move the family along to get something done.
And by the way, a conservatorship then just means basically it's like all of a sudden they become your child.
It's court appointed.
Meaning you're making, as opposed to power of attorney,
Right.
a conservatorship means what?
Right, where you're basically the judge takes rights away from that person and invests them in you, the person who's the conservator.
Okay.
So like literally, it's like a toddler. That toddler has no rights. Basically, they're vested in the child.
Real quick, let me see. Will, are you there? Will, do you have a quick question?
Yeah.
Real quick.
My dad has just recently fell ill, and he has to have 24-hour care. My problem is the Cigna is not providing him with the care, so I've had to get Cigna Health Spring.
Yeah.
I'm having to take off work where he's a veteran. Is there some way we can fall back on the VA to help?
Yeah, that's where if he's a veteran, depending upon what war he is and whatever, that's...
They can step up. The veterans' benefits sometimes are a
lot of it depends upon whether he's service connected or non. Like your dad, he was not injured in the war, he has nothing like that. But it depends on his father. Was he service connected, meaning was he injured in the war, or has some service connected disability, or non-service connected? All of that. All of what status he has depends on.
But if he served 4 years in Korea or something like that, or Vietnam,
he's entitled to something.
Some benefits.
Some benefits.
Okay, and the best way to find out about that is get in touch with an elder law attorney and look and see, because there oftentimes, as I'm learning, benefits available for that. You're awesome. And before we say goodbye, look at Tim's number up there. There it is. And we'll put it up again when we come back. But that's his number, your office there in Hendersonville. And it's 824-2571. And there's the toll-free. A lot of good information on elderlaw.com. Tim, as always, a pleasure.
Glad to be here again.
If I don't see you again before next year, happy holidays, my friend.
You too.
Back with that number and more right after this.